Part 3 is on evaluating polynomials. This is also, again, something that we have looked at before in a previous chapter. But just know, again, if it says to evaluate, they will give you a polynomial such as 6x squared plus 11x minus 20. And it will say evaluate this polynomial when x is equal to -1. So this means everywhere I have a -1, or everywhere I have an x, rather, I'm going to replace it with a -1. So I would have 6 times -1 squared plus 11 times -1 minus 20. Don't forget about order of operations and what we have to do first, which would be exponents. So if I square -1, that's actually going to be +1. I can go ahead and multiply here, which would make this -11. Bring down minus 20. Multiply, which will be a +6, -11, -20. Then we could go left to right. +6, -11 would be -5, and -20 would be a -25. So this is the solution or the answer that they're looking for when it tells you to evaluate a polynomial. The last type of problem that you're going to have in this section is going to deal with simplifying polynomials. Okay, simplifying polynomials is a lot like just combining like terms that we looked at also in a previous section. Okay, so let's look at some examples. If we have 14y cubed plus 3 minus 10y cubed minus 9. Okay, this is a polynomial. Do I have any terms that have the same variables raised to the same power? If you do, then you need to combine those terms. So we have the 14y cubed and the -10y cubed. +14, -10 would be a +4y cubed. The exponent does not change when you are combining like terms. Okay, we're just counting how many y cubes we have. Then we have a +3 and a -9, which would be -6. And so this is as far as we could take it. We have our like terms combined, and the answer is written in descending order. That's something else you'll be looking at and looking for on these problems. Let's say if we have 23x squared minus 6x minus x minus 15. Okay, same thing. We want to say, all right, what do we have that we can put together? Well, 23x squared is not a like term with x. So that's the only x squared term, and that's the highest degree. I'm going to bring it down first. Okay, I have a -6x and a -1x. They are like terms. Same sign means you add and keep the sign, so that would be a -7x. Bring down -15. Okay, that's all of the like terms I have that I can combine, so we're finished. This would be our final answer. Okay, let's say if we have 7x squared y squared plus 2y squared minus 4y squared x squared plus x squared minus y squared plus 5x squared. Okay, whew, big polynomial. I would look at what terms have the highest degree and that are alike that I could put together. Okay, so I see this term 7x squared y squared. Does it have any like terms? Okay, look at -4 y squared x squared. Do those terms have the same variables raised to the same powers? Okay, since they do, they're like terms even though they're not written in the same order. Positive 7, negative 4 would give me a positive 3, x squared, y squared. We would go ahead and just write that as one term. So that takes care of those two. All right, then you can choose, am I going to go with the x's next or the y's? Okay, I would usually go in alphabetical order and say I have a positive x squared, a positive 5x squared is going to make that a positive 6x squared. Notice my exponents are not changing. Okay, so now we're finished with those two terms. The only thing left would be the positive 2y squared, negative 1y squared. So that would be a positive 1y squared. Now none of these terms are alike, so we're finished. This would be my answer. What would be the degree of this polynomial? Well, individually again, 4, 2, and 2, so the degree of the polynomial would be 4, which would be the highest term. Okay, so this is combining like terms and simplifying your polynomial.